on the one hand, I think yes, it's an honor for you to suggest, Mike, that you could have come up and said, "Here's someone who needs no introduction." On the other hand, I liked hearing that introduction. That was very kind, and I appreciate it. This is my 4th term in Congress. I served in the state Senate before, but long before I started doing that, I started thinking about getting involved in politics. I started thinking about what public service would be like, and I think we can all agree that not only is our state attorney, I think it's very clear, not only is Mike a state attorney prosecutor who is as well respected as any in the country, but just in terms of his commitment and his service to Broward County and to the state of Florida, I think there are a few who can really match his dedication, his contribution, what he's done for all of us, and it's really an honor for me to be introduced by you. Thank you very much. And I'll say this, if every advocate for the cause they believe in, he or she believes in, had the passion and the dedication and the willingness to go anywhere and do anything necessary to advance his or her cause the way that David Singer does, there's a lot more that we would be getting done in this country. And I would thank you, David, for all of that. So I was thinking about this, and about what I was going to say, and it occurred to me there's a part of my story, for all of the time that I spent with the American Cancer Society volunteers, fighting alongside you, for all of the things that we believe in, I realized that while I have lots of friends here, there is a part of my story that you're probably unaware of. And it goes back to my very first days practicing law. David, I don't think you know this. I graduated from law school, I went to work for a firm in Washington, D.C. And early in my practice, the first month I was there, I got called into the office of one of the senior partners. And he said, here are some of the things that we work on, and we're looking forward to having you get involved. He said, but I want to start with this. He said, the firm represents, and I represent the Tobacco Institute. And they have a lot of issues that they deal with on Capitol Hill, and I'm going to need a lot of assistance. It'll be a good opportunity for you to spend time on the Hill, which, by the way, is exactly what I wanted. It'll be a good opportunity for you to get to know the way the legislative and the regulatory processes work. And so I wanted to tell you, we'll be bringing you in at the highest levels of this work. And there I was in my first month on the job, and I said to the senior partner, I appreciate the invitation. I said, it's good to know that you have all kinds of different work and clients that you represent, but on this one, you're going to have to find someone else to work beside you because I won't do it. Now, that was not easy for a 25-year-old first-year lawyer, but it seems what I was doing then was what we were all doing, which was scratching our head at how it is the Tobacco Institute, on behalf of the industry, could be making the claims that they made at the time. That there was no link between smoking and cancer. That nicotine wasn't addictive. That they simply had a product that people enjoyed that was no risk to them, notwithstanding what all the evidence showed. That was in 1991. That was about the same time that my former colleague and a mentor to me when he was in Congress and a hero to all of us, Henry Waxman, started convening hearings. And the most famous one was when he hauled in the CEOs of the major tobacco companies. And he had them stand up and he put them under oath. And we found for the first time, as they had no choice but to testify honestly, that they knew of the science, that they knew of the connection between smoking and its impact on an individual's health and public health, and that they were bearing the evidence to protect their profit. I knew then that if I ever had an opportunity, it was one thing for me to say, no, I don't want to work, I don't want to represent the Tobacco Institute. But I knew then that if I ever had a chance to find a way to do something significant, to get back at all of those years where the industry was going out of its way to hide the truth, that I was going to commit myself to finding that opportunity. So when I got to the state Senate, and we realized with David and with so many of you, that the evidence was clear that the best way to prevent kids from taking up smoking in the first place is to make cigarettes more expensive, and that we had a tobacco tax in this state that was more akin to the tax that they charge in tobacco-producing states, that I wanted to get involved and do something about that. So I want to tell you another quick story, which I think you remember. So in the middle of this fight over the $1 a pack tobacco tax, there was an effort underway by some in Tallahassee to try to shut down our efforts, your efforts, to try to silence us, but to change the argument so that they could say there was still something done, even though it's not what we wanted. And the way they did that was they went to the Florida House. I was in the Senate. They went to the Florida House. And they convinced them, they came up with this idea. They said, you know, if we just can pass an increase in the cigarette tax of a penny or two a pack, then we'll be able to say that we did exactly what everyone wanted, and yet it will have no impact on smoking rates, it will have no impact on anyone's bottom line. So I was standing outside of the Senate chamber one day, talking to a friend who was helping on this effort, and one of the lobbyists for the major tobacco companies came by and said hello to the person I was talking to, and we called him over. And he just said hello, we exchanged pleasantries, and I took the opportunity and I said, I want to tell you something. I said, I understand what you're trying to do, and I want you to understand something. I said, if your little plan to try to shut us down by being able to claim victory in the House and say that you did what we intend to do, if that's your plan and you pass it and I lose and we increase the cigarette tax by a penny a pack or 2 cents a pack, I said, then next year when we come back into session and I introduce the bill to raise the cigarette tax by $1.50 or $2 a pack, and I explain that the only reason we have to do it again is because the tobacco lobbyists shut down our efforts last year and made it impossible for us to accomplish what everyone knew we had to do. I said, I'm pretty confident that knowing that you were responsible for our failure, that it's going to get a whole lot worse for you next year. I said, I just wanted you to know that. So in what is still for me one of my greatest moments, one of the greatest compliments paid to me since I've been in politics, this gentleman leaned back, he crossed his arms, he looked me up and down, he paused for a minute, and then leaned in and said, Senator, you're a formidable foe. So, I was a formidable foe, but I wasn't a formidable foe because of my efforts. I was a formidable foe because there were activists like all of you and so many American Cancer Society activists from every part of Florida who came to Tallahassee to push with me and Representative Waldman to make sure that we did, in fact, pass the $1 a pack tax so that we could help public health, so that we could have more cancer research, and so that we could save lives. We all did that together. And so now that I'm in Congress, and we have opportunities to advance funding, we have opportunities to take a hard look at e-cigarettes and whether e-cigarettes are as safe as is claimed, and whether it's acceptable for us to accept the kind of efforts that we've seen time and time again to go after, to hook kids, as I saw this during the debate, hook kids on smoking by offering all kinds of great flavors, tasty flavors, cigars that tasted like grape, right? The same thing is being done now. We have an opportunity to be vigilant to make sure that we do everything that we can to stand up on behalf of the people I represent, the community that we all live in, to make sure that Congress behaves in a way that advances public health, that helps to lead toward cures, rather than in a way that makes it easier for big companies to help get people sick. That's the responsibility. So I would just ask all of you, you're here, you're involved in this event, which is one of the great events that the American Cancer Society does. The one that this event in Broward County, this jail and bail, is something that is a model for all throughout the state and the country, and everybody knows of the efforts that are undertaken here to make it a success. It will be an even greater success when all of us who are in this room go out and recruit and get the people that we know to care about this. And we can get them to care about it because we know they care about the issue. And I'll finish with this. I don't have to tell you this, but everyone in this room has had some experience dealing with cancer and some experience with loss. If through a really terrific event, which happens to be